Okay, so Eden is not here today because they're traveling, but I do want to go into, I want to take a look at some of the work that you did. I'm just so you all transparent, I was at the magical kingdom of Disneyland yesterday, and I was with a friend who has chronic fatigue, and I fully believed that I would be home at 8 o'clock. But this friend of mine powered through, and we did not walk out of the gates until midnight. I was there all day. So I had an amazing day, which did not allow me the chance to catch up on your work. But I will be going back into that folder today and taking a look and giving more comments as well. I only made maybe make like one or two comments, but um,
And what folder is that, love?
that's the Google file folder.
Oh,
That's where you're gonna turn in your homework, and I'm gonna drop the link in there. That came into anyone with a link, copy link copied. I'm gonna put that in the chat real quick to everyone. Thank you, Shannon. I appreciate that. So you have access to that. This is where I'm gonna go share my screen. Okay, so you all have access. I gave you editorial access, which means that you can put your homework in, right? So you have the homework submissions file and the resources file, and the resources file is where I'm going to be putting in the information. Now, Eden also put in a lovely little video on about creating a canvas on Procreate, and she'll be dropping resources there for all of you who are using Procreate. And then each week, I'll be putting the resources in here. So I haven't put any in for week 2, but I will drop that in as soon as before the end of the day for our lesson today. But you're going to be responsible for putting in your homework in here. I'm going to go ahead into week 1. And then I also asked that if you would label your, when you drop your homework in, please name your file format as your first name underscore last name underscore, and then just the title of whatever the homework assignment is. And then we'll be able to see, I'll be able to see who did what. And you are all, since you all have access to this file folder, you can come in through here and look at the other people's artwork, and you see there's a little plus sign crosshair. You can, if you feel so compelled, you can leave your own comments in here as well, and we can create kind of a dialogue, a supportive dialogue between all the students and everyone, so that you're feeling more of the community aspect of this course as well. So if you see something that you really think is really great, or you notice something in common that another artist did that's something similar to what you may have experienced, that this is a really great opportunity to do that. Okay. And of course, you can always share in the chat as well. So I'm going to go through these just super quick because I wanted to also make sure that I had time to devote to our assignment today. Let me just get, I looked at Alexandria's earlier today. And Alexandria was talking about like value hatching and building that kind of thing up. What I also wanted to say again, because I mentioned that, I mentioned this before everyone came in, was, yeah, I know that we didn't talk about brushes or how to change your brush or how to create lighting or shading or anything, because I wanted this first assignment to be just a exploratory process for you, where you really are giving yourself the freedom to try new things and push boundaries and that's why I gave you 6 different pieces to try to do differently with intention. And so we'll talk more about how you can develop all of these rendering skills later. But in this process, like I'd spoken about, like the joy of creating and like what brings you happiness. And that was something that Love is really was emphasizing in their talk as well. And that's something to really keep in mind. is the joy of creating and what that feeling is like, and making sure that you're really creating things that make you feel happy, because the more that you're feeling really good about the process of creating, the more that kind of comes through your artwork, and the more you'll make, and the more that'll resonate with other people, you know? So these look really great. And let's see, I've already put, there's a little drawing of me that Alyssa did from the previous class. And then Alyssa did like a lot of different artists that you liked, which is super awesome, because I know that people have probably more than more than one or two. And that's great. And these look great, Alyssa. So Alyssa, like, were you in this assignment, were you taking some of those examples of the work from the people that you like and trying those here, or were you just kind of trying to do different things? Like, tell me about your process.
Yeah, well, thank you first. I feel part of me feels like I didn't really do the assignment right, but ironically, I was worried about the cat, but the cat turned out okay. And then it was the rest of the stuff. I was like, I don't know what to do.
Oh, no, I think you did the assignment exactly as I expected.
Well, when I guess the inspiration part was because I think most of my inspiration comes from consuming media. So then I was trying to narrow it down to, okay, what do I like just in the moment, or that's not related to XYZ. And then for these processes, I just picked those top 6 that I had on the second worksheet, and I tried to incorporate a little bit of the qualities for each of the little boxes. I think for one of them, I mixed 2, like the bottom left one, I mixed 2 of the artists. For the watercolor one, I like doing watercolor traditionally, like on the paper. So I want to try it digitally.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
great. I love that you mix 2 of the artists. That's like creating a whole new flavor. That's really awesome. All right, these look really fun. I love the texture on those too. Okay, hey Anita, I love your work. And then we're wanting to work on more rhythm and value and variety for sure. Okay, oh my gosh. So let's see. So you've got the way that you approach these, you didn't change the color so much, but more of the way that you approach the application of the color, which is fine too. And then which of these kind of felt best to you, or which did you really feel drawn to, Anita?
I'm here. Yeah, for me, it was the painterly one, the one with the texture.
Yeah.
I really wanted to challenge myself by trying to stick with the same color and change style. Well, that was so challenging because it would have been so much easier to just, change colors and, you could really kind of show more of, do black and white, things like that. So
Yeah.
it was extremely challenging. But I had fun trying to vary the lines, trying to make the one that says sketchy more sketchy. And I, playing with moonlight instead of sunlight
Oh,
was
yeah.
challenging. And that's
Yeah,
really not in Procreate. I wasn't sure the best way to try to do the lighting. So that was super challenging too, but I had fun.
Okay. Did you put your lighting on a separate layer?
Yes.
Okay, that's exactly the way I would say to go about doing it too. So that's
Yeah,
good.
and you can change the opacity
Right.
of that, which
Yes.
I think would really help you. I'm looking at the texture one, which is my favorite.
Yeah, I like
What
that.
brush did you use for the fur?
For that one, I used one of the drawing brushes, I believe, and yeah, and I changed it. I made it, one of the drawing brushes that has a little more texture to it.
Yeah, it's great.
So yeah.
Yeah, that feels more like the texture on that feels more like the way that you already are working. I
Typically,
think.
yeah.
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 Yeah,
It's
that looks
just
more like your style.
the light beam coming down is too opaque for me.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I would play
Make
with
it
the
more
opacity. So you see some of that blue and the sort of, what's that? Is it like, it's not Payne's gray. What's the bottom blue?
It's just a darker version of the top blue. I just played with the coloring on that. So, just trying to
Uh-huh.
make it look like it's, at night in a room. So
Yes.
yeah, I see what you mean about having part of the wall show through the lighting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just,
yeah.
oh, love, here's what you do. You just make a lighter value of that blue. So a lighter
Oh,
value of the blue that's on the wall and
mm-hmm.
a lighter value of the floor color. And that's what will give you that beam of
Oops,
light.
sorry.
Oh,
There
okay.
we go. There we go.
Got
Sorry.
it.
Ah,
Thank you.
My
yeah,
pleasure, hon.
awesome.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go through a couple of these and I want to make sure that I let you know too that I won't be able to go through all of them, but each week I will do my best to make sure I showcase a different artist each time.
Are you tracking it, love?
Yeah, I am.
Good
Thank
girl.
you. Yes. Okay. So
Spreadsheet.
I'm doing the A's. Yeah, doing the A's today. Ariana really went wild with the stylistic aspects in terms of how you drew them. I think that's really fun to see how you did this, Ariana. Which one did you feel was the best for you? Which did you enjoy the most?
I actually really like the sketchy one. The first box is closer to like how I usually draw, but
Mhm,
I really like just being able to kind of like scribble everything down.
mhm.
So the second one was like my favorite to do.
Okay. Oh, that's really fun. Would you try that approach with add additional color too? That might be a fun way to explore that.
Yeah, I think I would maybe like doing something close to the box under it where it's just like kind of like watercolory,
Yeah.
maybe even add a little bit more depth to it as
Mhm,
well.
mhm.
Uh, but yeah, I had a good time. I saw everyone in the chat talking about how um some people had taken a long amount of time to do it, and I also agree like it was really hard to kind of like narrow your ideas down into like what you actually want to do, like
Mhm.
setting your parameters or like your intentions for
Yeah.
each.
Yeah.
But in the end, I did like all the exploration and just kind of letting yourself go.
Yeah, that's great. This bottom painterly shape one with the texture, this actually reminds me of Tawny's work. The way the stylistic with the color and the light and the texture on the light,
Wait.
and the lineless work that you did on there. I think that one's really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you have something to say, Mira?
Yeah. Can we go back to that one for a sec?
Oh, sure, sure.
So to just take it to the next level, I
Mhm.
might not end the diagonal light beams. I might have them go off the page.
Mm-hmm.
I think it
Yeah.
would try it out. Maybe it'll look much better. Maybe it won't. It's lovely. I really like it. And then the other thing I might do is the curtains. I
Mhm.
might have just a rod going across the top.
Oh, yeah.
So it just grounds it a bit. So the rod's going underneath the curtains, going out on the other side. So we know that there's something that's actually holding those curtains up. But
Yeah.
it's very adorable. It's my favorite.
Yeah, I really like
That
them
in the
too.
bottom right, I like that too. But I
Oh,
love things that don't have outlines. I mean, I love some things that have outlines too, but I think it's more sophisticated when you don't. And for some reason, it makes me think of David Hockney too.
oh, yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I'm actually really drawn to the black and white bold one. Just the graphic nature of that, I think is really, really fun. Yeah. Alyssa's dropping puns in the chat, and Caleb Cleveland, my former instructor, would really be proud of.
Uh,
Oh my God, this assignment was clawful. Stop. Stop. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna just stop here. And then I'm going to go into, and like I said, I mentioned before, I'm going to go back into the file folder and leave a little bit more connection commentary on your work in here. But this first assignment like really was about you getting to know how to explore things, really understanding what your likes and your dislikes were, and just knowing that you have really a lot of possibilities in terms of how you move forward in this class. So the next assignment is character drawing. Okay, and that's my favorite thing, obviously. But the goal for this class, let me go ahead and stop sharing that, and then I'm gonna share Photoshop today. Share character assignment. Okay, character. Okay. All right, let me go back and share this real quick. Okay. All right, so the goal for this class, my objective for you, is that in the next 5 weeks that you are learning how to paint digitally in a more efficient way, that you're also creating more successful, compelling illustrations, whether it's for picture books, which I think most of you are here for, whether it's for comics, graphic novels, or editorial, or whatever. I come from this, obviously, I worked in animation, but I also work as a picture book illustrator and a graphic novel artist. So my, and then of course, working as a character designer, but I want to emphasize character exploration in this week so that you have something that you are focusing on for your illustration, your image, your picture, in terms of who or what this illustration is about. And I want to give you this open assignment, which is like the overall goal of this class is to create a refined, completed, extraordinary illustration that you wouldn't have been able to do prior to this class. So that's my goal. And I want you to start thinking about what that illustration is going to be about. So if you are working on a picture book or a picture book story or some kind of story in general, I want you to be thinking about the character that you are going to be creating for this story, or characters that you're creating for this story. And the illustration that you'll be creating will be a moment in time in this particular world universe that you have envisioned that these characters or this character lives in. Okay. And we will talk more about those moments in time and which moments to choose in the next week. Next week, we'll be focusing on composition. And I have a whole, if you've done a course with me, if you did the drawing for animators and illustrators course for me, compositions is the thing that I spoke about like at the very end. And so that's really what we're going to be focusing on, like really hardcore of how to utilize all the visual elements and the principles of design to mesh them in a really compelling composition. So today we're going to talk about character design exploration, and I'm going to give you some ways in which you can explore creating a character. I'll show you some examples of how I've done this in the past, and then I'm going to let you do that on your own. And in the past, I've done this assignment for the private university that I taught at in the character and costume design course, which I actually also taught with Caleb Cleveland. And then in another online course that I did that's now available with New Masters Academy. So this is similar to that. But I wanted to show you kind of the ways that you can create characters. So if you're all already drawing characters, I know that because I've seen your work. So this is just another process in which you can do that. Okay. So the assignment here is that you're going to do thumbnail silhouettes of your character. Okay. And I'm not going to specify how many. I want you to do enough that makes you feel that you've explored enough. And when you think that you've explored enough, I want you to keep going. Okay. So for me, as a character designer, I've always told myself to not take the first drawing that I design, because there are always iterations and variations that you can create. And you want to try and, like my mentor told me, it's about like taking a rubber band and stretching it till it's just about to break. And if you break it, which means that you've done something that's just either hideous or obnoxious or ridiculous or completely ludicrous and doesn't make sense, then you know that you've done the right thing, that you need to come back a little bit more in terms of your design. So we'll talk about that a little bit. You're going to silhouettes of your character is your first step. Then you're going to create one of those silhouettes and that you like. Okay, you're going to choose one of the silhouettes that you've created that you think is really successful, and you're going to copy and repeat that silhouette, and then you're going to do variations of that detail on that particular character. And then when you're done doing that a few times, you're going to choose the best one, and then again make a copy of that, and then you're going to develop stylistic or color variations of that particular character and explore. So this is exploration. Oh my gosh, there's a comma in the exploration. What is that doing there? Where assignment? There we go. Okay, let me fix that. Sorry. Mira would have pointed that out to me if she saw it, I'm sure.
And you've got a comma after exploration, yes.
Yeah, there we go. Color X, design,
Oh, fixed.
yes, all better. Okay.
And yes, I am multitasking. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I've got too much going on.
That's all right. Okay. So this is kind of like a sample of what this looks like. And this is what I've done in my digital painting course. And this is kind of what the end result looks like when you've created a character and you're exploring that. But I'm going to go back here and show you what this looks like. Okay, I'm going to put this, let me put all these in one folder here. Grouping these folders here, I'm pressing the top one, and then I'm pressing keyboard shift, and I'm clicking the bottom one, and then I'm pressing Control G, and that groups them all together, and that way I can keep them down there. So this is an example of thumbnailing. Thumbnailing is basically a way, oh, that's not actually it either. Where is it? Let me go to this one here. There we go.
Mm.
Stop sharing there. Okay. So up at the top, this is an example of a particular character in my graphic novel. This is the Colonel, and the Colonel it just appears in one part of the book, and only is standing, and I don't need this character to do anything other than stand and look authoritative. So up here you can see how I've created different shapes, silhouette shapes of what this character is going to look like. Okay, and I know that he's authoritative, so I know that this is going to be basically a human, a human character's average size, but maybe a little bit taller. So what you see here is more along the line of me exploring the head shape and the shoulder width, and like maybe the broadness, or how wide or thin he is. And I'm doing this in a really small way where I'm just drawing. This is one way you can do it. You can just draw the shape as though you were drawing a character and then fill in using a paint bucket tool. Or there's another way that you can do it. I'm going to kind of explore that right now. Like here in this process, I've done the same thing where I'm creating a shape, and these aren't really thumbnails, but this is more of a just kind of exploration of the shape of the character. So before I get into that, I do want to just give you a couple of things that I want you to be mindful of. And I need to make a new layer here, and I'm using the wrong pen. Okay, so we're going to talk about, I'm mindful of my time. All right, I'm going to talk about I think the most important thing to keep in mind. Nope, that's the wrong brush. Okay, small, medium, and large. Okay, and I really should have done this so that this was small, medium, and large. Okay, let's do that instead. Get rid of that. Okay. Okay, so in terms of design, I want you to remember how important small, medium, and large is, just the term small, medium, and large, because that is the design element that you want to be focusing on in creating your characters. So what does that mean? Small, medium, and large. That means in your character, your character is always, oops, still on lasso. Your character is comprised of shapes. Okay, shapes that make the total whole. Okay, which is the silhouette that we looked at. Okay, and I'm gonna make it like really simple. Like you might have something like a shape for the head, a shape for the body, and a shape for the legs. All right, I didn't need to write legs because I didn't write it for the other ones. But the idea is that if you are creating a character, maybe it doesn't even have to be a human character. It can be an animal character that stands up on all, that is bipedal, that walks on two legs. Think about how you can divide the spatial relationships of them between small, medium, and large. And it doesn't have to be stacked like this. It could be large, medium, and small, which might look something like this. Right? And when we talk about those shapes in terms of small, medium, and large, you can kind of arrange them in whichever way you want, but then they also can be not just small, medium, and large in terms of the head, body, and shape, but they can also be in terms of the width. Okay, so this is talking about like the height. And here I'm going to talk more about the width. So you can have a large, wide shape for the head. You can have a medium. Let's see, make this medium. And then maybe a small, wider shape. Okay. So now I want to be mindful of the small, medium, and large aspect in terms of the shape, the individual shapes that make up the head, body, and the feet, but also in terms of how wide those shapes are. Okay. And when you think in terms of that, you will be creating more interesting characters. Okay. So this could be a bunny. Okay. Once you've created some silhouettes, basic silhouette shapes like this, let's say we're going to create a bunny character. I don't know why I just thought that, but if I were to do this in Photoshop, I could draw using the lasso tool, and I could just create some kind of interesting shape like this, fill it. I'm going to fill it with like a gray color. Okay. Gee. Fill it with a gray color. That doesn't really look like shapes together, but it looks like there's like three kind of shapes in there. In Clip Studio, if I were to do this in Clip Studio, you might want to use the lasso fill tool, okay, where then you're really just looking at, you're just focusing on creating shapes using the lasso fill. Oops, and I'm gonna make a new layer here. And I'm just going to use like a gray color, and I'm just going to create random shapes for like a bunny character. So I'll start off with circles. Okay. Medium, small, large, and I'm also trying to be mindful of like the width, right? And I'm thinking these three shapes, I'm thinking head, body, and then legs. Let me do this. Okay, that's like my medium. Oh, let's do this a little bit. Okay, and then I could like figure out how I'm going to make all these into bunnies and vary the ear sizes. That doesn't really look like a bunny. Okay. So this is one way of creating a silhouette. Creating just some various. And notice that I'm just thinking in terms of shape. I'm not thinking of like, oh, this bunny should have like, should look a certain way. I have no preconceived notions about what this bunny should look like. I am exploring through the process of just changing the shapes, small, medium, and large. Okay, so let's say you do a bunch of these. Okay, I'm going to do 2 more. Okay, so once you've done a set of these where you're exploring whichever character it is that you're creating for your illustration, you're going to take one of those, okay? And then the one that you like the most, right? And then you're going to duplicate that. And then you're going to explore, let's see, I would say I just really like the cute one here, but you know what? Yeah, I'm going to take that one. Okay. So take the one that you like the most. And then you're going to duplicate that. So I'm on here in Clip Studio. I'm just going to copy and paste it. That's on its own layer here. Okay. So you're going to copy and paste it. And remember, you're working small. You're going to duplicate that a bunch of times. Okay. So let's see. I'm going to copy, and then paste it. And it's going to go on its own layer. So now I have 2. I'm going to merge these 2 layers together. Here, going to merge. Wait, I know that this one down here, this is merging with the layer below. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate that layer again. And now I have 2, and I'm going to move this layer. And now I have 4. Okay, I'm going to merge those 2 layers. And I'm going to duplicate that again. Copy and paste. And then I'm going to move that again. So now I have, oh my gosh, I have so many. They're so cute. Okay, so I have 8 little characters of silhouettes that I think work really well, right? Let's see. Oh, Alexandria asking, how do you incorporate small, medium, and large in character designs for more proportioned characters like Phil Borbasa? I don't know. Oh, okay, so more proportion characters. Are you talking more like human figure characters?
Yeah.
Okay, you can still do that. I want you to look at the characters, the black characters in Pixar's Soul. Okay, all human characters, but all the character designs in that movie are phenomenal, in that they all read as humans, right? But the sizing on all those characters in terms of the size of their head and body and legs, like the drummer is a lot shorter and wider than Joe Gardner. And I know this very much because I've been studying the film for a particular piece that I'm doing for Disney right now. But and then just look at those and see how they vary greatly just within the constraints of human anatomy. Okay, and push that as much as you can. Okay, so once you've got those initial designs for your silhouette, then what you're going to do is you're going to start to explore. Thank you, Tani, for the Procreate Lasso tool thing that you just dropped in the chat. Okay. What you're going to do is you're going to start to explore on how, let me make sure that those are on the same layer. Let me put those on the same layer. On a new layer, on top of that, you're going to start to explore the details of the character. And when you do that, especially in the face, okay? I want you to think again of small, medium, and large, okay? Small, medium, and large. Okay, and I'm just gonna look at real quick, I'm just gonna pull up 2 characters from Pixar that I know are awesome. We're gonna look at Joe Gardner from Soul. Okay, we're gonna look at his face. Okay, let's see here, images. Sorry, I don't have his picture up. Okay, let's just take a look at his face. Okay, I'm gonna copy this. Copy image. Okay, I'm gonna drop it in here. Okay. I'm gonna put it here. Oops. Okay. Okay. And then we're gonna go, because I know Pixar does an amazing job, and then we're gonna go to Pixar up. Grandpa, I forget his name. Yes, okay. Okay, and of course, you know, I'm coming from animation. These are all animated features, but the same thing can still work and apply for illustration. Okay, we're gonna take a look at these 2 characters. Okay, let me move this guy here. Down here. Okay. And we're gonna just break down these 2 characters together. I'm gonna just go on a new layer. Okay. All right, let's take a look at the shape. Okay. The shape of Joe Gardner's head. It's like a squash. What is this shape? What kind of shape is it?
Butternut squash.
But it is, in fact, oh yeah, it's totally a butternut squash. In fact, I'm making it like not nearly as big as it should be, because
Or a gourd.
a gourd. Yeah, he has a gourd shaped head. Okay. Now look at Grandpa. Literally is a box, is a square. Okay, rounded square. Okay. So that's the shape of the head. Now I want you to look at the features. Okay, we're going to look at the features. Small. Small.
Oh,
Medium. Let's say medium. I'd say this is more medium. And the medium in terms of the length, maybe. And then let's see, like large. Look at how big that nose is. It's like actually this big, and then like really big nose. Okay. I'm going to turn these off, and I want you to just look at the spatial relationship of the objects and where they're at. Okay. Now, normally when you're drawing a head, you're probably like, all right, well, I'm going to draw a head, and this is where the eyes are going to go, and this is where the nose is going to go, and this is where the mouth is going to go, and this is where the ears are going to go. And then I might change the shape of those features. Like I might make the eyes really big, and then I'll put the nose right here, and I'll make that like, you know, normal size, and I'll make the mouth like small. Okay, but I want you to focus on the negative spacing between and around the shapes. Okay, so look at how the proximity of the eyes here to each other, they're really close. And then I want you to notice how close the eyes are to the nose in Grandpa. They're literally like right on top of one another. Okay. So be mindful of your negative space when you're drawing your features. I made it look like a dandelion or whatever. It's like one of the flowers from Alice in Wonderland. Okay. Be mindful of the positive space and the negative space. So when I come back up here and I draw the features for the bunny, okay, so remember when we're doing character designs that are like animals, what are the identifying characteristics that make a character look like a bunny? Well, it probably has to have some kind of a triangle shaped nose, and then it has to have some kind of buck shaped teeth, probably, and then probably has to have whiskers of some sort, and obviously it has ears, so I've got the ears already. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to explore the size of, and you know, I probably could get away with doing whatever kind of shape eyes, as long as it has some kind of triangle shaped nose and the rectangle shaped teeth, it's going to be fine. All right, so small, medium, large. Okay, that's kind of fun. All right, let me try this one here. Small, medium, large. Oh my God, this kind of he looks a little rabid. Let me put those teeth in the right place. Sorry.
Is there a big gap between the teeth?
No, probably not.
I don't think there is.
There probably isn't. Okay, let's
Try it
thank you,
again.
Mira. Yeah, that's
There
probably,
we go.
okay. Okay. Now let's try that same relationship of large, medium, and small, but let's change the placement of them.
Super
I like
cute.
that. Let's make that a little bit more medium. Okay. And okay. And let's try that again. Let's vary this one here. Let's give them like Joe Gardner eyes. Little small eyes. Oh my goodness. Let's make these bunnies not so crazy. Now this is gonna look super cartoony. The bigger the nose, the more comedic impact I think there is. I don't know why that is, that with big noses, there's always some kind of comedic impact, but oh my God, that's great. Okay. All right, so do you see what I'm doing? I'm having a lot of fun with the placement, the size of the features and the spacing of the features. I'm gonna just keep going. Okay, let's see. This might be a little weird, but let's put the eyes up there. Sure, small. Let's make a really large nose. Oh my God, what is happening there? See, I'm like breaking the mold. I'm exaggerating to a point where it's like, does that even work? Like, I don't know. Oh my gosh, you know what I also forgot? The whiskers.
Yeah, I was just thinking it needs
Thank
whiskers.
you. Okay, so in terms of like the whiskers, I'm even varying whether or not they break the silhouette. That almost doesn't even look like a bunny anymore, but you know, whatever. This one's gonna be really creepy. Right here, I can already tell. This one looks like a rodent.
It also looks like
him-
Mr. Peabody. Do you remember that?
Oh, there you go. Now let's try this. Now let's vary the shape of the eyes. And let's put the nose up there. Let's make the nose, I'll make it a little tiny. And that just looks a little weird. Like that's starting to like not look like a rabbit to me anymore. So when things don't look like a rabbit and they start looking like another kind of beast or monster, like you could totally, oh, look at that. I'm getting some ideas, you know, of like these actually being glasses.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So do you see what's possible with the exploration of first creating the silhouette of your shapes of your characters and then creating variations within them? And I'm just like even looking at the faces. I'm not even talking about like the
Detailing.
yeah, all the other details. And so you really can play around with, and I didn't like add the shape of the arms in here, but you could, or you could leave it out completely and just really play with, you know, how big or how little the legs and the feet are. Like maybe I do something like this. And maybe this is a girl. Yeah, and she's a girl and she wears a dress. I don't know. Okay, I can see Chloe. I know Chloe, my youngest student, the cartoonist, can have a lot of fun with this, but it's like Pinky in the Brain. So yeah, that's kind of the exploration that I want you to do. And that's a lot of fun and I want you to really have fun with it. I'll put that in the resources file. Thank you very much for filling my brain with the word that I'm trying to say. Okay, so the next thing is to kind of show you what, once you've done that, like I'll show you how I've done that with this particular character here. Oops, I should show you probably the other one first. Okay, yeah, no, I did. I showed you this one. I showed you the thumbs. Yeah, okay. And then here's the sketch. So then this is my process where I took I only did 5, but then I created different variations. And I was thinking for this particular character, oh, I'm sorry, another thing that I do want you to do is I want you to write, where is it? Right up here, you see how it says description, old lady, mushroom witch, a mushroom cat, a witch mushroom. No, she's a mushroom witch. Okay, she has a pet toad and she has mushrooms growing on her. So I want you to give yourself a description, like write out a description of what you're envisioning for your character at the top of the page for you and for me and for everyone else, so we can kind of figure out what your exploration process is. And in this next step, this is where you begin to really have fun with varying the design a little bit more. And you can, if your character has a prop and or it's important to that character's particular personality, then you want to include that there. Okay, once you've done several of those, okay, you're going to do several, you're going to choose the one that you like the best, and then you're going to repeat that. Okay, you're going to take that and repeat that a couple times, maybe 5, 8 times, depends. And then what you're going to do with that is you're going to create variations on the color palette or on the stylistic way that you approach this. So this particular assignment here, I played with the color palette. And I want to talk about color palette too, because I mentioned this before, but there are 2 places that I like to go. Actually, the more recent one is, let's see, was it Adobe Coolers? Coolers. There it is. That's not it. Color wheel. Okay. All right. And I know that if you're using Photoshop, you might be familiar with this. If you're not using Photoshop, this is still free. You can still use this. So this is a great place to find color palettes that exist. You can, and I'm not going to talk about color today so much. I'm going to focus on that maybe more week 3. But here you can see that there are different color harmonies. Analogous is when all of the colors, the colors are, on the same, next to each other.
Next to each other, yeah.
Yes, thank you.
On the color.
Right, on the color wheel. Okay, so you can see they're all neighboring each other. By the way, on here, if you look at the circle that has a little triangle in it,
That's nice.
that's the main color, and that when you move that, all other colors adjust to that color.
That's wonderful.
This is
And also, it's as you go closer to the center, it gets lighter.
yes, thank you, Mira.
And
Yes,
that's a wonderful
absolutely.
thing.
So the closer to the center you go, the more a tint it becomes. The further out you go, the more saturated it becomes. There is no
What's the
shade.
shade? Oh, that's not a shade.
No, it's really not. It's just more of a tint, but you could probably adjust the oh, here, there it is in shades. So we'll go down to that real quick.
Where's shades?
Yeah, no, down there here.
I've got it. Got it. On
So
the left.
monochromatic is when you're just choosing one hue, and then it'll give you shades and tints of that particular hue. A triad is when you have 3 colors that are all opposite, equal opposite space on the color wheel. Complementary is when you have a main primary color and its opposite on the color wheel, and you can vary those as well. Split complementary is when you have one main color and then 2 opposing colors that are complementary colors to it. Double split complementary gives you even more. Square is just, I don't know, these are real fun ways to try it, but then you can go down here to shades, and then that will give you shades of whichever hue you want. So this is a great place to go. Let's say you want to choose, let's say I'm going to go to triad. And let's see, I really like this color. I'm going to try this color here. So I'm just going to screenshot it. Make sure you know how to screenshot on your computer or laptop or whatever, and you just drop that in to your program, and you do that a couple times. Okay, so I'm gonna go back into Photoshop. I know I'm jumping around here, but I want to go back into Photoshop and show you how that might work. So,
So what's that color scheme you've got there?
oh, this particular color scheme here for this
Yeah.
mushroom witch, I have
Yeah.
no idea. I think I
It'd
got
be-
that
Oh.
from this, I don't know, it's reds and yellows and greens. So it's maybe it's like I don't even know.
It doesn't matter.
I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Sorry, love.
That's okay. So just choose the colors that you're drawn to. Maybe think about the mood of your overall story or your image that you want to tell. And if you want to do something that's really lighthearted and fun and playful, maybe you're choosing light colors that are bold, more saturated. If you're doing something that's more dark and dramatic, maybe you're going to choose colors that are more dark and more shade. But the other thing that I want you to do is be mindful of the, well, let's see, yeah, we'll talk about the contrast too. Creating areas of contrast between light and dark within the character. Okay, so these color schemes, they all are going to have some kind of light and dark value in them. If I go back to, where the heck is that? Okay. There's going to be variations of light and shadow. See, you can see here that this yellow has a shade to it. That's here. So there's a light and a darker value here. And then this blue has a darker value here. And then this is the accent color here, this pink. Okay. So make sure that you're creating areas of contrast in terms of value on your.
We lost you, Larissa.
To add the colors on
Okay.
this layer under here, which is your, no, not that one. Sorry, your gray layer. Okay. You can just take that layer, alpha lock it. Okay. And then coloring on top of that layer. Okay. You can then start pulling colors, and I'm just going to choose like one main color here for this one. Why is it not working? It should work. I don't know why it's not working. Oh, refer to other layer, refer only to editing layer.
Are you on the? Yeah.
I don't know. Oh, because
on the
I'm on
right
the
layer.
wrong layer. That's why. Okay, there we go. Let's try this. Alpha lock your silhouetted layer. And then there, choose like maybe one color for each one. That'll give you a way to, jump into creating variations on each one. And then, and this is kind of like a assembly line approach. This isn't like really thoughtful on individual ones, but you can be more thoughtful for each one if you want, that's totally fine. Using the lasso fill, I'm going to come in here and then just like kind of plop in this pink here, that pink here. Maybe I'll give them like little pink shirt. I don't know, whatever. And then I can, maybe try the same thing on this one here. Use that nose there. And, so that's a way that you can kind of go into the process of doing that. All right. Yeah, these are really fun colors. Okay. So lastly, when you're done with that, you're going to choose one that you really like. Okay. And that one that you really like, that might be the one that you use in your illustrations moving forward. Now, I wanted to show you this because this is a color exploration, and this one is a stylistic exploration. Okay, now you can do either or both. It's up to you. In this one, I drew the character and I knew what colors I wanted to do already. So in this one, I'm more along the lines of choosing which pen or brush that I want to use to, render the character and maybe the whole look of the whole book. Okay, so here I'm using, I'm trying out, you can see how I'm trying out the different brushes on the side, and I'm trying out the different ways that I would render her hair, or how I would color in her shorts, how I would approach the patterns and things like that. So you have a way of exploring these different things, okay? And it's up to you what you want to do. This week is really just about exploration, about characters, okay?
And Larissa, are you going to put these files, all of them in the
Absolutely.
resources?
Yes, I'm going to go through, make them all pretty, look them
Don't make it pretty,
organized.
you don't need to make it.
Neat. Make them neat.
You don't need to do that. They're so
Oh.
expressive.
I'll make them neat so you guys understand what I'm talking about. Okay, I literally went till the end. Questions?
You
Alyssa.
rock, Larissa.
Thank you, Mira.
Sorry.
I had a question about, well, I guess you explained the assignment good. I guess for character wise, because you said we're going to use it for our assignment at the very end.
Yeah.
If we don't have like a clear idea, but we have a basic description, will that be good enough for us to keep moving with it and evolving with our characters?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's up to you. If you design a character and then like next week you're like, I have a totally better idea, then do it. Like I'm not gonna, like, I think you've been in my classes before where we're like, you don't have to do anything we tell you, right? But in terms of working your workability and making your work easier sequentially, if you can think about now what you want to be doing for your final result and spend the time developing a character for that, that'll really help you. If you do something that you totally don't like and you want to switch it up, you're totally free to do that. You just have to do that exercise again. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that makes sense. And then that made me think about maybe from today's presentation, we could also think about what we want our message to be, and then that could be in the final product as well. But yeah, that makes sense.
Yes.
Thank you.
What is your message? What is your voice? What is your unique voice? What is it that you want to say in your artwork? And I didn't really talk about that so much, but I will talk about that more next week and the weeks coming up. Thank you for that question, Alyssa. Irina?
My question was just kind of the transition from 1 to 2. So 1, we're exploring just the silhouettes. 2, we're taking the silhouettes and adding detail within.
Yeah.
So in that same phase, are we also playing with the colors, or we take that into 3 where we can play with colors and like textures and all of that?
Yeah.
3.
You can, sorry, let me go back to, where is that? This one here. Okay. So this is the final model page that I had given to my art director so that they knew the process that went into it. But okay, so like you're doing your silhouettes, and then you're going to take one of those silhouettes that you like, and you're going to do some variations on that. And then whichever one you like, then you'll do color variations. And I already kind of knew what color variations I wanted to do on this one. But you are free to explore the color or the stylistic tendency of the character, or both. You know, it's really, it's up to you to what you want to explore. Okay. It just, the whole main thing is explore. Okay. And this is, you see how much thought goes into drawing a character? Like, I'm not just drawing a character and going, this is it. Whatever colors I chose today are the colors that I want. Like, no, there's a lot that goes into this. And I want to mention again, before I let you go, that my mentor was Charles Zimbillis, who was the character designer for many Sony video games like Crash Bandicoot and Spyro the Dragon and Jak and Daxter, and the amount of work that went into just developing those particular characters, because they were the lead characters that were running the entire intellectual property. There's a lot of work. I'm not asking you to do that much work, just a little bit more than you're used to.